Get behind me. I'm ready. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning. Thank you for coming to Pier 27. This is one of the best, if not the best, ports in all the world. It is one of the last remaining finger pier ports. There were 8 in the U.S., and this is one of the last collections. So it is great to have you here as testimony of this amazing feat that we are doing. And so I just want to call out a few people. In addition to the dignitaries on the stage with me, Mayor Gavin Newsom, Ed Harrington, the General Manager of the San Francisco Public Utilities Commission, Jared Blumenfeld from EPA Region 9, Jack Broadbent from the Bay Area Air Quality Management District, Dean Brown, the Executive Vice President of Princess Cruises, and Board of Supervisors President David Chu, as well as Port Commission President Rodney Fong, Commissioners Ann Lazarus and Kimberly Brandon, Gina Banks and Dan Wessel of Senator Dianne Feinstein's office, Megan Miller from Senator Boxer's office, Captain Nicolo Barmolco, the captain of this fantastic ship, Stefano Pina Barzone from Metro Ports, among many colleagues, Willie Adams and many others from the ILWU, Will Travis from BC, there's one. Will Travis from BCDC, Bruce Wolf from the Bay Area, from the Regional Water Quality Control Board, Michelle Rubalcalva from the California Association of Port Authorities, the bar pilots, Captain Stowe from the U.S. Coast Guard, welcome, Bay Delta, BAE Systems, Friend of the Earth, San Francisco Planning, and many more that I'm sure didn't make it onto my little card. So thank you all very, very much for coming today. On behalf Thank you. Thank you. On behalf of all of us at the Port of San Francisco, we are honored by your presence and your demonstration of partnership. Today marks a great achievement for the port. It gives us great pride, but it also gives testimony to that which has always been the port, which is that wonderful things can happen when leaders come together and great minds work on innovative projects. The port, as I mentioned, is over 100 years old. It is a place of great history. These piers that you are standing on were built many, many years ago and have stood the incredible test of time thanks to the amazing workmanship with which they were built. The tremendous ingenuity has been demonstrated over and over again, and we are doing it again today with the shoreside power or cold ironing, whichever you prefer to call it. So today we get to celebrate our collective ingenuity, and so it is with great pride that I introduce our leader, Mayor Gavin Newsom, who frankly needs no introduction, but I am going to say one more thing. Mayor Newsom's accomplishments, particularly in leading local government response to the environment, are too numerous for me to go into today. I'm certain you all have it all memorized, but I am here to tell you that this would not have happened without his leadership and support. And so, Mr. Mayor, I really want to thank you for prioritizing this project and for making sure that once again we are leading the way here in California. And I love that you will take this message on to all of the other 11 ports in California. And so with that, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Monique. Thank you all for being here. Welcome to San Francisco. Why aren't you out shopping? It's a beautiful day. It's great always to see these big ships come into San Francisco. It fills me with a great sense of pride because of the adventures that I know people will have when they make it into our diverse neighborhoods. And it's a city that continues to be the #1 tourist destination in the United States of America for a reason. And I am grateful that you're all here to experience that. Thank you to Monique and her team and members of the Port Commission, President Chu, and to our friends at the EPA and Bay Area Air Quality Management District, to Ed Harrington and the PUC, and to some guy named Jared Blumenfeld who just simply won't go away from the EPA now. If you know Jared, then you understood why I was so rude. If you don't, Jared's now with the EPA. He left us for a bigger job. He used to be our Director of Environment, and really it was Jared and Monique back in 2005 that first came into my office to talk about this idea of dealing with what otherwise would be power generated by diesel to create a power source generated by renewable energy. And I want to make this point. We're not just celebrating a $5.2 million contraption you see behind me. We're celebrating a new approach to shoreside electrical management that allows us here in San Francisco to do something remarkable, and that's source our electricity from hydroelectric sources from the Sierra Nevadas. So you are truly getting green, completely clean energy that is powering the ship you see to your left and my right. That's a big deal. And at least one person thinks it is. I don't know. The rest of you, exactly. So when we talk about green power, we're not kidding. We're the only port, remarkably, in the state of California that has done this, just one of 4 in the world. We have seen this up north in Washington, Seattle, Vancouver, done something similar. We're going to see this down in LA, we hope soon down in San Diego. But we're the only one in the state of California, and that fills us with some pride because of the partners you see behind me. We put up about $1 million. The EPA put up about $1.2 million. PUC put up 1 and a change, and then Bay Area Air Quality put up 1 and a change, what, 1.6, 1.4, 1.9. He put up the most. And we cobbled the resources together to get to this point. We are proud to be the first. It's appropriate that San Francisco is the first. We've always taken pride on being on the leading cutting edge of green technology and tomorrow's technologies. These are green collar jobs that produced and manufactured that shoreside power system you see behind me, and that's something that's an important message. If you believe in the environment, you believe in jobs. Or if you believe in promoting jobs, you better believe in environmental stewardship. And that's really the spirit that brings me here, and the spirit that I'm grateful all of you took the time to be here. So congratulations, job well done. Let's keep leading by example, and let's get the work done completely rebuilding this pier, which will be done hopefully very, very soon. So folks have something more spectacular to disembark from. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you again for your leadership. As the mayor mentioned, we have not done this alone. It has taken a virtual army of folks, and another of our important leaders is the president of the Board of Supervisors, whose district we stand in here, District 3, Mr. David Chu.
Thank you, Monique. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to first start off by saying something that I don't get to say if my other colleagues are here, but I want to welcome you to the most beautiful supervisorial district in the city and county of San Francisco. This is an example of the beauty of what happens, this very place, when nature meets man, when the best and the most beautiful of what nature is about meets what we have been able to create as a city behind us. And this announcement today about Shoreside Power is also about the best of what man has been able to create to protect that which is the best of what nature is about. And I want to thank all of you who've been working together in partnership on this, from our mayor to the port to the PUC to our partners at Bay Area Quality, as well as from the federal EPA, our private partners who helped to bring some of the most amazing cruise ships from around the world here to this space. I think what's really exciting, though, about today's announcement from my perspective, though, it is an important step in the future of what San Francisco is going to be as far as being an international destination. We already are the #1 tourist destination on the West Coast. But the plans that we have to rebuild Pier 27, rebuild and rethink the entire waterfront, from what we did yesterday with the leadership of our mayor and many folks here moving forward the America's Cup, we want to continue to make sure that San Francisco is the 21st century destination for folks that want to see, again, the beauty of where man meets sea. So thank you for being part of this. I also want to thank all the folks that are working to pull this together, from our friends in labor to the folks that are pioneering green-collar jobs. We can't do without you. So we look forward to future announcements, and we also, I think every single one of us, the mayor and I, were joking that unfortunately we don't have time to get on this cruise ship, but maybe someday, in a couple years, 30 years from now, Mr. Mayor, we'll get on this ship. So thank you for being here.
Thank you very much, President Chu. The mayor's already mentioned our former colleague and now our current one of many regulators, I guess, who is here to help support our mission with his enthusiasm and his creativity, and most importantly, his $1 million. So please welcome Jared Blumenfeld from US EPA.
Thank you, Monique. Big thanks to the Port Commission. Unlike other countries, the Port Commissions have huge authority and power in the United States. If you think about the ports of Long Beach, Oakland, and LA, 60% of all containerized traffic into the United States comes into those ports, and yet those ports are run by local officials that are doing their best to really make things work, and this is another great example of that. The money that the EPA secured to give to the Port of San Francisco came from the Diesel Emissions Reduction Act, which would not have been possible without Senators Feinstein and Boxer. We have Representatives Gina Bank and Megan Miller from those two offices, so I wanted to say a big thanks to them, and of course to our Speaker, Pelosi, for securing that money. This is where the money goes, and it's really tangible and easy to work out what it's doing. The mayor and the board president worked tirelessly with some of the advocates here to close down Hunters Point Power Plant. Then they worked tirelessly to close down the next power plant, which is at Potrero. But we actually have a power plant right here that comes into port increasingly, which is great. We want more and more tourists in San Francisco. We want more and more tourists in California. And as the mayor said, they don't have to be at odds. Now we can have more tourists and cleaner air, and that's really a remarkable success story. 9,000 people a year die in the state of California from pollution, from air pollution. 9,000 people a year. So it's really one of those things that kills people, and we need to find out innovative solutions to help reduce that death toll and clean up the air in California, and this is one of them. California and the mayor have often been first when it comes to the environment. This is another one of those great firsts for the United States. This is the first time in U.S. history that will be cold ironing. I always thought cold ironing was how my shirts came out really wrinkly, but cold ironing actually refers to plugging in this shore power and allowing the power from Hetch to fuel this rather than dirty diesel bunker fuel. Wow, that came out well. Dirty diesel bunker fuel is the dirtiest grade of oil. It's used by these ships. You actually have to heat it to about 110 degrees just to get it to be able to burn. And now they'll be able to go from one of the dirtiest fuels to the cleanest fuels. I had some great numbers. Over the 30-year lifetime of this device, we will save 81 tons of particulate matter, that very fine matter that causes asthma and respiratory disease, about 100,000 tons of CO2 that results in greenhouse gas emissions, and the city has a very aggressive, ambitious, and the mayor's getting us on target to meeting those goals. And finally, to emissions from nitrous oxide, reducing at about 2,200 tons. So this is a great success for the environment. On behalf of the Administrator Lisa Jackson and the President Obama, I want to thank everyone involved for making this happen, and can't wait to see how it works. Thank you.
Thank you, Jared, very, very much. And thank you for calling out the health risks. I suffer from asthma myself. I have a child who does. And it really is an important thing for us and for the generations to come. So I appreciate that you've mentioned that. Next, I would like to introduce to you one of the port's longest-term partners, and that is Princess Cruises, who's been calling here at the port for now 40 years. We have just a fantastic friend in Dean Brown, the Executive Vice President. As many of you know, he has helped us to have a competitive edge with our ship repair facilities, and now have a competitive edge with shore power. Princess Cruises, as I hope Dean will mention, is unlike the Port of San Francisco, a veteran now in the shoreside power arena, and with their help, this has been made possible today. So thank you, Dean, and Tom Dow and others.
Thank you. Morning, everyone. I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you, Mayor, for inviting guests. I live in Los Angeles, so you can imagine how thrilled I am to come to San Francisco. I really enjoy every opportunity, just as I know our passengers are enjoying San Francisco as well. Our road to this place today really started with Princess about 10 years ago, when we were responding to some community concerns in, of all places, Juneau, Alaska. And in Juneau, Alaska, we first installed a shore power facility there and cleaned up the air in Juneau. Now in Juneau, it wasn't air quality so much as it was visible emissions. That was the challenge for them there. About 5 years ago, that extended to Seattle, Washington. As we were growing our exposure and our use of Seattle at that time, we worked very closely with the port to add shore power facilities in Seattle. And Seattle has now expanded that to 2 facilities and 2 piers. And then just in the last 2 years, we also were able to create a facility with the help of the port and the electrical company and everybody in Vancouver, Canada. And so it is with great pride that we are able to continue that road and come to San Francisco, a port that we've been coming to for, I think, over 40 years, Monique. For over 40 years. And so we're thrilled to be here and be part of this today. The future of shore power, again, as Mayor mentions, there's facilities now being developed in Los Angeles and Long Beach, San Diego. We're working with ports around the world, including in New York. We have Venice looking at it and the port of Civitavecchia, which is for Rome. So it is really a process that is extending around the world as more and more ports become familiar with what this can do for the community. And for us, it's part of us working with the community to be able to grow the commerce, the marine commerce. You know, this is a port, after all. And so it is nice to have marine commerce in a port, be able to grow that commerce and do it while minimizing the impact on the local environment. Now for Princess, we've installed, as on the Island Princess here, we've installed shore power facilities on 10 ships. It's quite a commitment from the cruise line because that's about $1 million a ship. So we've got quite a bit of money invested in this. But also following us, Holland America Alliance, which I'd like to give a lot of credit, they've added this to 6 of their ships, and they do come to San Francisco as well. Now, it's not an easy thing to do. We've done this many times, and as most of the people up here in the dais know, you need all the stars to align, and you need everybody to start pulling on the same oar in order to pull this off. And I'd like to thank, as many people have, the mayor and the city of San Francisco, Monique and the head of the port and the port commissioners. I'd like to thank our partners in the ILWU working with us, as well as Jack Broadbent with the air quality management people, you know, who really brought most of the money forward and helped push this forward. The EPA, of course, and a couple of other people that really pulled this off. Cochrane Electric, you can see their name on this big blue thing here. They were the guys that came up with the engineering that really refined the product and refined the standard, and they are developing this now possibly around the world. Mike Watts is here from Cochrane. I'd like to give him some recognition for what he's done. And also, I'd like to introduce you to the man that I like to call anyway, the father of shore power. He's been with Princess and Carnival Corporation now for over 10 years. He's right over here, Tom Dow, who started this in Juneau and has helped propagate it around the world. So thank you, Tom, for all your efforts. Thank you, Monique, and we look forward to a long future.
Thank you again very much to Princess Cruises and Carnival Corporation and their sister company, Holland America. Next, I would like to introduce the man who really made this possible. He was our first investor in this great project, as the mayor mentioned, $1.9 million, which at the outset seemed to be plenty of money. And so I would very much like to introduce Jack, and I realize I skipped over Ed, so I'm going to come right back to Ed. So Jack, if you wouldn't mind coming forward, I appreciate that. Thank you very much to the Bay Area Air Quality Management District. Sure.
Well, good morning. The Port of San Francisco is the first to install clean electric shoreside power for cruise ships in the Bay Area and indeed California. And the Air District, and again, as Monique indicated, I'm here on behalf of the Bay Area Air Quality Management District, wants to recognize and indeed applaud the leadership and commitment of protecting our air quality and our health. That really is due to the leadership of the mayor, Jared at the time when you were at the city, Monique. They really deserve, I think, the credit. The Bay Area Air Quality Management District, of course, is proud to partner with them to be able to help provide this funding, but indeed the leadership and commitment and the drive to make this happen, it's been a 5-year effort, I know, Monique. This has been incredible because I can remember when we first started this effort. We, as Monique indicated, we put together just shy of $2 million to help move this forward. And why did we do this? It's because diesel emissions, frankly, represent a major health concern here in the Bay Area. Toxic soot from diesel lodges in our lungs, causes a number of respiratory problems, and indeed ocean-going vessels represent a big fraction of that diesel soot down here at the port. This is something that we've been undertaking here in the Bay Area to clean up diesel soot from a variety of sources. We put together recently a pretty comprehensive program that we're continuing to implement to clean up all the trucks in the Port of Oakland. We're also doing that with regard to the locomotive traffic that's in and around the Bay Area. And this project here today represents another example of our efforts working with the partners of the City and County of San Francisco to really help make sure that you breathe the cleanest air here in the Bay Area. So, thank you. With that, let me hand it back over to Monique, and we're just glad that we could partner with the City and County of San Francisco, and again, want to recognize their leadership. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jack. And again, thank you for your belief in this project and your willingness to help us get it going. It really is the difference maker for us, and we appreciate that. Last but not least is our General Manager of the San Francisco Public Utilities Commission, Ed Harrington, who came along and helped with the investment desperately when we needed it. And so we are grateful to him and all of his amazing staff who have made today possible. So with that, Ed Harrington.
Thanks, Monique. Thank you, Mayor, for your leadership. Happy to be here today with the Bay Area Air Quality people, Princess Cruise, EPA, and others. Yes, we contributed some money to do this today, but you're all aware that we have the best water in the world with Hetch Hetchy water, and you're probably now very aware that that Hetchy water has a very nice byproduct, clean renewable power. And that clean renewable power will be powering this ship. And you say, so big deal, the ship comes in, you plug it in. This is the equivalent in terms of energy use as if you pulled City Hall into this slip. The amount of power that this ship uses while it's here is the equivalent of all the power used in San Francisco City Hall. We also often tell people they have to do things. This is a place where Princess wanted to do this. We wanted to be partners in that. And so this is Hetchy power, and therefore it's Hetchy rates. If PG&E had been delivering this power to the ship and the ship stayed here for about 10 hours, they would be charging about $25,000 to the ship. If the ship used its diesel power, it would be spending about $18,000. We wanted to make it beneficial to the ship to actually use clean power and not diesel power, so we're going to be charging about $16,000. So it will be cheaper than PG&E, it will be cheaper than using diesel, and it's a win for all of us to have cleaner air, good Hetchy power at a reasonable price, and happy to be here.
The mayor is checking Ed's math. So in closing, I would like to recognize some of the individuals that have made this all possible. First and foremost has to be the port staff, led by our very own Jay Ock from the Maritime Division, but also our engineering, real estate, planning and development, and maintenance divisions, not to mention finance division. I would like to thank the Cruise Terminal Environmental Advisory Committee for bringing this matter up many, many years ago and seeing it through to fruition. That was very much a blessing for all of us. I would like to thank the men and women of the Longshore Union that is working behind you. This is probably your one and only opportunity to see them at work, as this is a secured pier. We couldn't be here with this ship without it. I'd like to thank the stevedoring company that is also working this ship. Metro Cruises is here. And you'll notice as you walk through the pier a plethora of volunteers who are our concierges. They give us their time for free, and we are very, very grateful for all of that. I am certain, I know this project took a ton of effort, not the least of which is through Cochrane and also Macmillan Engineering. I'm sure I forgot someone, so I apologize to you in advance, but please applaud yourselves. And again, thank you. Please come inside and enjoy the celebration. Okay, and then I'm supposed to tell you that while the mayor was talking, it all got hooked up, and so if you'd like to come over and see the ship plugged in, please do.